Welcome to Subramani. I've handled this question very many times, saying, are we in a bubble, right? And if we are in a bubble, in which asset class are we in a bubble? And if we are in a bubble, and what should I do if I'm invested in that asset class, right? So this question has been asked so many times, and I have myself done videos on this, vlogs on this. So why am I doing one more? Because I want to now do two things. One is define bubble, and then tell you that it doesn't really matter, because I cannot ever prepare you for how to handle a bubble. The only way to avoid a bubble is to just completely avoid it, and that is something which even I'm not willing to get out of, right? I'm not willing to do that. So let me get into what is a bubble. Suppose you buy a share for 100 rupees, okay? The share price, the earning per share was 10 rupees, the EPS was 10 rupees, and the PE was 10. So it was at a price of 100. Exactly 1 year later, the earning per share remained at 10, but the market thought this is a great company, so they gave it a PE of 20. So the price became 200. 1 more year after that, the market thought it is a great company, and they gave it a PE of 30, and the earning per share was at 10. So now it is at 300. So what has happened is your investment has gone from 100 to 200 to 300. However, the EPS has not changed. It is only the PE which has changed. This is what you call a bubble, where the market euphoria takes the price up rather than the intrinsic value, that the earning per share is not going up. This is an extreme example. Of course, even better example would be GameStop, where the price moved from $4 to $347, right? That is the kind of madness which can happen in the market in the short run. So this is how you define a bubble, where like Mumbai rents don't go up at all, but the denominator, which is the value of the house, keeps increasing, and they tell you that, look, this house which was worth 3 crores is now worth 6 crores, is now worth 12 crores. But the rents don't go up like this. How can the price of an asset go up like this when the yields are actually going down, right? So then you realize there is something in the bubble. Now, what is wrong with being in a bubble is you have to sit and get some fabulous returns in the future to justify the price which you are paying, especially if it is an investment. If it is emotional, you and your wife want to buy a 8 crore house or a 9 crore house. It doesn't really matter whether it is an 8 lakh house or an 80 lakh house or an 8 crore house. You can afford it, you decide to buy it, and you're going to live in it. That is not a investment decision. That is a emotional decision. You want to live in that house. That house looks good, and you have decided to buy that house. Be fine with it. Don't then start emotionally justifying that price. It is not an investment decision. It's an emotional decision. Having said that, let me get into some academic definitions of a bubble, because that could be pretty useful, and I have to read it from So we define a bubble as circumstance in which asset prices offer little or any chance of any positive risk premium relative to bonds or cash, right? And by whatever means of projected cash flow that you use, and the buyer, which is you and me, believe that they can always sell it at a higher price tomorrow because somebody will buy. And for them, the underlying fundamentals do not matter. This is what earlier we used to call the greater fool theory. I will find a fool greater than me who will buy this asset at a price not justified by current prices. That is my view of how a bubble should be, and this I'm quoting somebody else's definition. So there is something to definitely learn from this bubble thing. Bubble definition is, it if you have to make unrealistic assumptions as to how long you will require to recover the money, like once upon a time you could get dividend yields of 7% and 8%. Even now there are dividend yields of 7 or 8%, but not in the Indian market, in some other market in the world, right? So if you do not know where to get those kind of yields, if you think a company will have to grow at say 50% per year for the next 10 years or things like that, and question is, can Tesla grow at 50% per year for the next 10 years? The answer is, you have to come out with an answer. It's not me, right? So another thing about the bubble in any country, and especially in India, is there has never been a bubble. Now let me explain what happened. Even in 2003 to 2007, certain sectors went through the roof, which was IT, which was infrastructure. I think Tata Power used to be at a PE of 100. I remember selling BHEL at some 367 or things like that. I mean, there's no split, there's no bonus, nothing has happened. And I saw this share price at 22 rupees recently, right? So we've seen this. So a boom can happen in a particular sector, which means there is a bubble, yes, in that sector. So you have to be able to identify that sector. And this happens because the topmost company in that sector will have a greater market cap than many other industries, right? So if a DLF has market cap greater than the Tata Group, then you know that real estate is going through some kind of a boom, right? So similarly, that is the way to identify. So the bubble, if any, is being built in certain pockets. It's not in the market. Don't look at the index, because somebody will look at the index and say, oh, this is not sustainable. Index may sustain. I'm not saying index will fall. Maybe the index will fall, won't fall. I'm not getting into it. But definitely there are pockets of super high overvaluation and very attractively priced scripts in the market today. It is for the fund manager to decide which one to sell and which one to buy. What can you do? I can tell you, this is a terrific time. Sell, sit on cash, and you will get a chance to invest. Maybe I will be right in 2024. The question you have to ask yourself is, can you sit for 3 years on the sidelines, not participating, and also finding the market going from 50,000 to 75,000 in 3 years, or maybe 50,000 to 100,000 in 3 years, and you have not participated? Then the market falls from 100,000 to 42,000, and I'm right? So I was right, but I was right over a 3-year period, and you didn't have the patience. So don't look at whether there is a bubble, not a bubble. Look at what you will do. See how you will react, right? So GameStop, assuming you bought at $4, did you wait till $347? Would you have waited? Ask yourself. Investing is a journey inward. Ask yourself what you will do, what you're capable of doing, what you're interested in doing. Are you here to have fun? Are you here to make money? Find out all those questions about yourself. That is far more important, right? So even assuming that we are in a bubble in some scripts which you hold, if I ask you to sell, will you sell? If your investment advisor asks you to sell, will you sell? That is another problem, because the asset allocation, the question of asset allocation happens when you sit down and say, get out of this share which has done so well. For example, I have shares of CG Power and Intellect Design, right? Both have given sensational returns. I also have lesser models like Motherson, Sumi and all, which have doubled. But these two have given sensational returns, and I'm still holding without any great conviction, because I'm saying, oh, maybe it will go up even further. I'm unable to act on all the theory that I've learned, and that is Maya, right? It is impossible to act when you should act. That is the very essence of asset allocation with the discipline and all that. So even if I tell you there is a bubble, you're not going to do anything about it. And even when I think I'm in a bubble, in some of the scripts which I hold, I sell off in very small lots. I'll go and sell off 100 shares or 200 shares. I will not sell them off in a jiffy, because I don't know, right? It might make me very sad if I sell off and then the price doubles and I not put so much money, but the fact that it has gone up so much has made it a reasonable portion of my portfolio, right? So this is always the problem with the bubble: identifying the bubble, knowing the bubble, and still not being able to take the benefit of knowing when the bubble will end. So to conclude, the chances of you being able to spot the bubble is very high. There is enough theory today to say if you take the Shiller P ratio or any of those ratios, market is definitely high, but it is your skill to be able to identify your scripts which have given you sensational returns, which you think, yes, I have had enough. It's not that it can't go up further. I bought this GameStop at $4. It is now $100. I've got 25 times in 3 months. Therefore, I'm very happy to sell, and then had the mortification of watching it go from $100 to $347. What would have you done later? That's the question to ask. Or if you bought it at say $27 and it became $54, you've doubled your money in a very short period of time. Would you have sold, or would you have created another theory saying why the share was a good buy at $4 and why it is a fantastic buy at $325? That is just your mind fooling you. Having said all this, go and look at your portfolio. Is there something which has done sensationally well, and you need to have fantastic stories to tell yourself and your wife as to why it can go up even further? You bought a share at 10 bucks, it is now 182 rupees, and you now find a new theory saying at 182 rupees also it's a good buy. Let me give you my example. I bought Apollo Hospital at an unbelievable price of under 10. It was 9 rupees something or 8 rupees something, and I bought it simply for the fact that it would pay dividends. So I was getting a 10% dividend yield, and I thought that was sensational, and I'm talking I think 90s. Then I watched it go up to 135. It's a 15 bagger, right? What do? You sell a 15 bagger. You don't hold and hoping it to become a $100 bagger or 200 bagger when you're not very confident about the quality of management. Then I sold at 135. Then I bought it again. I traded. I did all that. The best price at which I have sold this is about 2,100. And I was very happy with the price that I was getting, and today the price is about 3,000, right? So your ability to hold on from 9 to 3,000 is not going to be very easy. The pandemic of course helped, but I'm saying it is not easy. So don't worry too much whether are we in a bubble. Maybe we are in a bubble, maybe we are not. Maybe we are in a bubble in the shares that you hold, and we are not in a bubble in the shares that you do not hold. So some of your shares may be worth selling, some of your shares may be worth adding, right? All that's fine. Look at yourself. What will you do? How will you justify? So if you are telling yourself lies which are very, very difficult for you to believe, or which your 10-year-old daughter refuses to believe, it means you're in a bubble in that share. Now you act accordingly. Thank you.